Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews. Have you ever wondered what games you should sell or you should use? Find out here at Purge Reviews. Find out on our top 10 list what games you cannot miss. Don't forget to subscribe to Purge Reviews.
Welcome to the 2016 Top 15 Games of the Year. Now, I was going to do 10, and I thought, well, you know what? I might as well bust these doors down and get 15. Now, what games made the list? That's a great question. Any game I didn't play didn't make the list. Any game I just wasn't able to get my hands on, get to the table, for whatever reason, if I didn't play it, it didn't make the list. I do plan in the future maybe to go back and update this list as I played more games from 2016. Also, any games that didn't make this list are games I didn't like. If I just didn't like it, it didn't make this list, no matter how popular it was. I'm not going to sit here and pander to certain companies or certain games or what may be popular for other people. Instead, I hope to show you what I like and games that I think that you might want to add to your collection, and perhaps there's a couple in here that you've never even heard of. And I always hope that that's the case. I don't pick obscure games on purpose. I just hope that sometimes I can pull something out that you may not have heard of that you would really like. And I think that's a service of one of these lists of what you're supposed to be doing. So thanks for watching Purge Reviews. If you subscribe to the channel, it really helps things out. That's a really helpful thing that you can do to help me out. And away we go. Number 15 on my list is one of the hottest games going. And a lot of people probably would think this game would be higher on the list. And that's Terraforming Mars. I really like Terraforming Mars. The science in the game really brings me into it. I really like the three things: the temperature, the oxygen, and the oceans that you're kind of your countdown to the game. The only thing that holds it back for me is I never really feel like I'm getting an engine going. I never feel like that big moment that you're looking for in a game when you kind of put everything together. Instead, I feel like I'm just continuing to do the same thing, which is fun, which is good, but I never really feel like I'm building towards something. Mars itself is being built, and that's fun, and we're collectively doing that together, but I never really feel like I got my engine, and here's my thing, and look at this cool combo or chain that I just did. With that said, Terraforming Mars is a fantastic game that I really like, and I found it to be the 15th best game of 2016. Number 14 is a game you may not have played called Daedalus Sentence. I really like this game. The board is made of these circles that are always moving and changing, and there's quite a few things you have to look at. To me, this is a solo game. So this is not a game that I would play with a lot of people, maybe one other person. But to me, this is kind of like a puzzle game, adventure story type thing. And I really like the Daedalus Sentence. This is a game that I think has quite a hefty price, but one that I'd recommend you to kind of check out and at least try, if you have the discretionary income and like to play solo, to go ahead and pick this one up. Daedalus Sentence. Oceanos by Yellow becomes in number 13. This is kind of a family style game of where you're deep diving, like in scuba gear, and you're looking at animals and collecting treasure, and really it's just kind of a point thing, and every round you go a little bit deeper and things are worth a little bit more. I really liked Oceanos. It has some luck to it. It's a family style game, but it's a beautiful looking game, and I think it's really, really fun and easy to teach. I think if a lot of people tried this one out, they'd like it. I fear that a game like this kind of gets lost in the mess, if you will, of family style games and this kind of light to medium games, but this is a really fun one. Check it out. Number 12 is Historo. This is a game I kind of just bought on a lark. I was at a friendly local gaming store. Cool stuff. And I always like to support it when I'm physically there playing a game. Try to see if I can find something that I would like, and this was one that I picked up just kind of on a splurge, and we took it home because the artwork on the box looked so great. I knew nothing about it, and I got a really neat little game of pressure luck, guessing game. It's a really neat little thing, and the components are out of this world for that heaviness of the game, let's say. But I was surprised by this. It's another family weight type game that you could play with hardcore gamers or light gamers. It really runs the scope of that. This is one I highly recommend you check out if by any chance you missed it. Number 11 is Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition. I feel like perhaps if I could have played this one more, it would be higher up on the list. I only got a couple plays of it. I have to tell you with the app integration that it was a very, very cool thing to do. It was very neat to have the randomness of the app and the monsters, and it just worked for me. It really, really worked. It kept track of the stats for you and kept track of the map and how that kind of went. I don't play a lot of games that have the apps. I haven't played a lot of them, but this one right here blew me away with the integration for it. I'm really looking forward to the integration on Imperial Assault that Fantasy Flight will be releasing next. Number 10 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shadows of the Past. I got a lot of miniature heavy dice rolling games, and this one's actually one of my favorite ones. It comes with 4 comic books, I believe. Plus, I have some Kickstarter bonus ones that tell a little bit of a story. I like the sharing of the dice. The miniatures are really cool, and I got mine all painted up, which I'll show you soon. And they just look fantastic. And the theme is cool, right? We all like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But this ended up being a pretty neat game. I actually really liked it. I like the way it's one versus all, but the bad guy actually has something to do, and there's a game to be played there. So this is one I would tell you that if you're going to splurge on one of these, this might be the one to get. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shadows of the Past. Number 9 was a Kickstarter that was released earlier in the year called King's Abbey. This is one that you may have missed this year, but I think is a really fantastic game. King's Abbey, I would call this game heavier. I would say it's pretty heavy, although once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. But there's a lot of moving pieces in it. I think the Kickstarter edition looks fantastic. I'm not sure this one was ever released in stores. If it was, I'm just mistaken. But this is one I would tell you that if you want a kind of a medium to heavier game, to check it out. There's a lot going on there. And it's really cool how you're defending the castle and kind of building it up. That's the King's Abbey. Number 8 is a remake of a remake. So originally it was Pandemic and Defenders of the Realm, and then it was turned Defenders of the Last Stand. I'm a huge fan of Defenders of the Last Stand. This is probably the best version of that game to me. It just comes alive to me. I like the different powers and the different characters that you play, and I like the different bad guys and then the bosses that you have. The game really moves really neat, and there's little side missions that you can do. Richard Lonnie has just knocked it out of the park with this one. If you had Defenders of the Realm and you want to try a spin on it, I think you might walk away with just saying, I don't need that one anymore. I'm going to stick with Defenders of the Last Stand. It's got that Mad Max post-apocalyptic theme, and it just tremendously works. So definitely check this one out. Number 7 is New Bedford. This is a game that I kickstarted that kind of surprised me, to be honest. It wasn't one I was looking forward to too much, but it's a nice little worker placement game where you're building these buildings. And other people can use your buildings, but they have to pay you to do so. And then you go out whaling, where you draw tiles from a bag and you pick which one you want. Now, you're not always going to pick the most VP one because it's going to cost you more. So you have to kind of balance how many victory points you can afford with how much cash that you have. Because if you can't afford to pay for your whales, they then get auctioned off to the other players. So you need to be careful by giving points to the other players. New Bedford, it has some luck in it. It's not a pure Euro as in no luck, but it's a really neat game that I highly recommend. Seek this one out, even over Nantucket. Number 6 is the sequel to Manhattan Project, which is called Energy Empire. I really liked Manhattan Project, and Energy Empire does not disappoint. I feel like there's definitely room in my collection for both, and probably for yours. I like the aspect of this game, how there's worker placement spots, and if I want to take a spot that you've already taken, that's fine. It's just going to cost me additional energy, which I have to give up. And it's got the same kind of aspect of Manhattan Project, where I have to place one on the board and then activate everything that is on my cards, but you can only do so by the color coded. This is a really neat game about pollution and having efficient energy, and it's a worker placement game, so that hits a lot of strikes for me. Energy Empire was my number 6. Number 5 is Meteor New Era. This game I had not even heard of when Dylan brought it over to play it. I loved it so much I tracked down a copy, and that's not easy. You're definitely going to want the Kickstarter exclusives with this one. It's got the bits that actually look like what they should look like berries or cows. This is a fantastic worker placement, and what this game does a little bit differently is that each worker spot is has a resolution in order, so you know that you're not going to produce before you can do that, so you might not have enough until next turn. It's just a really neat aspect to this game. There is a little bit of, it's kind of wonky with the horse training and the horse shows. I feel like that's a little wonky, and the rules may skimp a little bit on that. I'm not sure I know how to 100% do that correctly. But Meteor New Era is a game that you definitely need to check out if you're into worker placement games. This is one of my favorite ones. Number 4 is probably the most hyped game in board games 2016 and perhaps ever, and that's Scythe. I may have put this higher had I played it more. It's a really neat area control, Euro, combat game. It's a really neat game. If you haven't tried this out, don't listen to the naysayers. Give it a try. This is almost an instant buy to me. I love the Kickstarter upgraded components. Jamie sells those on the website, so you can buy those without being Skyped for those. But Scythe is a wonderful game. If you liked Euphoria and you want the next step in evolution from that game, then you're looking at Scythe. And if you don't like combat, don't be scared off, because really it's only 1 or 2 combats in the game, and it doesn't do you any other good to do it. So you don't have to worry about somebody taking a war strategy on it. That's not going to happen. Definitely check out Scythe. Fantastic, fantastic game. Number 3 is, earlier in the year I would have said it was my favorite. It could very easily have been number 2 on this list, and that's The Networks. The Networks takes one of my favorite themes, TV production, and turns it into a game that actually works. I absolutely adore this game. I would play this game anytime with nearly anyone if you just ask me to do so. I like this game that much. I've played the heck out of this game. Out of all the games on the list, except for maybe number 1, I probably played it the most. The Networks is one of those games that just strikes a lot with me. The gameplay, the mechanisms in the game, and the theme just kind of all come together with me. Networks is a game I highly recommend you to purchase before they run out of copies. Number 2 is a Uwe Rosenberg game, Feast for Odin. Now, this game, any given year, could have been number 1. I probably need to play it more before I can say it's the best game of the year. And this game is heavy. There are a lot of options in this game. Don't listen to anybody who says, there's only a few things to do and here's this. No, there's a lot going on here. Let's be honest. But it's so worthwhile. I don't want to scare you off. You just take your time and learn some of the options as you go along. And don't worry about winning your first couple of games. Explore what you're doing. The first time I played, I was like, how am I going to cover this entire board? And by the second or third game, I was able to do most of the first board and more boards. It's just about becoming more efficient with your turns and figuring out what you want to do and what's the best way to accomplish your goals. Each time you play, you may have different goals with Feast for Odin. This is a wonderful worker placement game. This is right up there with Agricola and Caverna. This game is going to be around for a while. I definitely recommend you having somebody teach you this game. I definitely recommend you trying this game out or just insta-buying it if you can find a copy of it. Now we're on to my number 1 game of 2016. This should not be a surprise for anyone. That is Great Western Trail. This is one of the best games that I've played in a long time. I have played this game so many times. And each time I try to do a different strategy and try to figure out a different way to score more points. Now I do think there's one way that is very, very strong, but I've had such a good time trying to combat that and saying I'm not going down that path anymore. I think I can do pretty well with that path. Let me try something else. And I absolutely love that about this game. This game is really easy to teach with the method that I use. And I've been able to bring a lot of gamers into this game that I think it would normally scare away because it seems a lot heavier than it is. But this is my number 1 game of 2016. It's got some deck building. It's got action points. It's got building buildings. It's got moving trains. It's got most of the things that we like in games all in one bundle. Highly, highly recommend you take the 2016 number 1 game, Great Western Trail. Purchase it. Play it as much as possible. In conclusion, I just want to say 2016 was a great gaming year. I appreciate everybody watching the channel and subscribing to it and helping it be a success. 2016 was a year that didn't start off very strong for me, but ended very strongly with some of these games. I end up playing a lot of old games. I don't always play just the new hype games. There's a lot of 2016 games I haven't played yet, and I'm sure over the next year, 2017, I'll be playing those games. So watch the channel, check back, and I'll try to upgrade this list and let you know what really was the top game of 2016.